Howdy. Welcome to the show. I'm Charlie Simons, your host here on Do Not Talk, or I'm going to ask you to indulge me in talking about the two things you're never supposed to talk about, religion and politics. It's kind of what I do. And I would love for you to follow this channel you're watching right now. Subscribe if you're watching on YouTube's. Did you hear what I just said? On the YouTubes. Subscribe. It doesn't cost you anything. Just right now, you're watching there, click that subscribe button, boop, and then when I post shows on the channel, it'll let you know. And same with Rumble. If you can follow me on Rumble, I'm over 1,000 followers now, which is exciting. It's been hard to do on Rumble. I'll tell you, it's kind of weird because it's the only platform that's not as big as YouTube, but getting there, and they don't censor. I've had my shows taken off, deleted off YouTube. I've had them threaten to pull my entire page down. And I've been with YouTube from the beginning, so I got a whole long history there, and it would all be gone. So along comes Rumble. Now, Rumble's been around for 13 years. I didn't find out about it until about 3 years ago. And that's where I live, is on Rumble. But a lot of conservatives have not gone over there, which is baffling to me. I don't know why. So if you can follow that channel, rumble.com/DoNotTalk. It doesn't cost you anything to follow it. Just click that follow button right now if you can. Or if you're watching on Facebook, you can follow this page as well. And I thank you for your support. And by liking, even, doing one of those little smiley face or thumbs up or mad face, whatever it is, you help me break the algorithms by responding, commenting, so on and so forth. Speaking of comments, I always forget to do this, but my guest is so good and so strong, and I know you're going to want to ask some questions possibly. So I've got the chat room open now, at least on Facebook. So if you can follow, though, please, rumble.com/DoNotTalk, especially follow that, and like the shows and share them. When you share them, you really break down the algorithms, which I have been a victim of that. Shadow banning on social media pages, not on Rumble, but we're not showing up on Rumble like I wish we would, and I hope we will. And you can also support me by, see that little URL right there? Boop. That will take you right to venmo.com/DoNotTalk. Venmo.com/DoNotTalk, or just use that little URL thing. And if you can buy me a cup of coffee or buy me a tank of gas, either one, that'd be nice. Help keep the show on the air because it does cost money to put this on. And I'm about to have a guest on. He knows about putting shows on. He is, like me, got victimized, basically. I don't like being a victim, but we were victimized by our own business, by leftists who control it, who own it. And guys like us who speak truth, guys like us with conservative values, especially Christian values, they're not interested in us having a platform. We've been fired en masse by radio, television, newspapers. It's owned by the left. And the good news is it's dying. So Brad Wilder did what I did. He went over to social media, he went over to alternative media, and he's up in Canada, which I love. I had the honor and privilege of getting to live and work there for half a year, and I loved it. I was in the province of Alberta, which they basically call the Texas of Canada, and lived right in between Edmonton and Calgary. I was right in the middle of a little town called Red Deer. It was like out of a movie. And the people, I loved them. I loved them. And when President Trump started, I know he was going after Justin Trudeau, and rightly so, the Prime Minister of Canada. And he started talking about Canada being the 51st state and everything. I'm like, oh no, this is going to cause some hard feelings. Here's the CBC, which is basically like England. Their media is government controlled, unfortunately. Like the BBC, they have the CBC. And they did this report.
President-elect Trump reacting to the resignation of Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, writing, "Many people in Canada love being the 51st state. The U.S. can no longer suffer the massive trade deficits and subsidies that Canada needs to stay afloat." Justin Trudeau knew this and resigned. Trudeau said he's also going to resign from Canada's Liberal Party once it does select a new leader. That announcement coming after his support dropped significantly over Canada's falling economy, rising inflation, and failed immigration policies.
Well, guess what happened? Guess what happened? Hello, Brad Wilder. It's been way too long since I've had you on the show. Welcome back.
Well, thank you for having me, Charlie. It's great to be here. I know that there's been a lot that's happened since our last chat. Our fearless, well, I won't say fearless leader.
Fearful.
He's not much of a leader at all, actually, but he's on his way out. Your guy is on his way out. You got a new guy coming in. I've already got my white privilege card, which trumps everything on my phone, which I thought would be perfect to start the show off with you.
Okay. Who would have thought that Trudeau was going to step down? Now, it was a surprise to all of us down here, but maybe you all already knew it was coming.
We knew it was coming. We just didn't know how it was going to play out. Was it going to be an election? Was he going to just resign? Were we going to have to force him out? You know, incompetence, you know, that
you
sort of
guys
thing.
Re-elected him. You elected him to a second term. What in the world?
Well, some of us Canadians did, but not all of us. And again, we use the same voting machines as you guys. So, hey, I'm not saying anything about that company down there in the States. Or
I will.
Well, I think they originated in Canada to begin with and then moved to the States. So, you know, there's all kinds of things that tie everything together these days. And as you've seen, we've got a lot to concern ourselves with.
Absolutely, we do, and I was concerned for my Canadian friends when my soon-to-be new president made this statement and really went after Trudeau and Canada in general.
When you threatened tariffs on Canada a couple weeks ago, Justin Trudeau rushed down here. He wanted to make nice. Now he's on the way out. Is that what you wanted?
I didn't think he was going to quit. He probably saw the numbers. Look. I call him Governor Trudeau because they should be the 51st state, really. It would make a great state. And the people of Canada like it. They pay lower taxes. They have virtually no military. They have a very small military. They pay less than 1%. They're about the lowest payer in NATO. They're supposed to pay much more. They haven't been paying. They have a lot of problems. And I was with Wayne Gretzky. I said, Wayne, would you like to be the governor of Canada? I can't imagine anybody doing any better than Wayne. Wayne was not doing
Prime Minister, the great one.
Yeah, that's right.
Fantastic.
Well, it would be
go ahead.
It would be a step up.
Listen, a dachshund would be a step up.
I agree.
You heard him. He said that a lot of Canadians like it. Do you like it?
Well, I'm going to be honest with you. Of course, not necessarily. And the reason I say that is, you know, there's great Canadians, and history can't be wiped. But there's great Canadians that came before us who have left a legacy of defending our flag. We come with great pride defending our flag and helping in the Second World War, for example.
You helped us tremendously. That's
instrumental.
For sure. Yeah, you did.
Instrumentally. So, you know, that for me is something that my grandfather fought for as well. So for me, I say, well, you know, no, not necessarily. I'm not willing to give up, you know, Canada to become a 51st state. However, I do like certain things about what he's talking about. Obviously, having a lower tax bracket would be great. There's the fact that, you know, your money's worth more than ours by like a lot at this point. $1.43, I think, is what your dollar's worth compared to mine. So in the end, what I'd be concerned about most is history being wiped from what Canada was and still is, but needs to be, you know, revamped a bit. And then healthcare. I'm not interested in paying $100,000 for my toenail to be taken out of my toe because I got an ingrown toenail or something stupid, right? Like, that's the other thing. Healthcare up here, we've got it good. And well, sort of good. There's a lot of
Oh,
problems within our emergency rooms and within our hospitals, but nonetheless, we still aren't jacking over money like crazy here, going, here, pay for the surgeries, right?
well, and we're not either. $100,000 to remove toenails is not accurate, but I had this discussion with many of the friends I made when I was up there in Canada, and they would talk about, well, what about our free healthcare, eh? And I'm like, stop calling it free. You spend exorbitant taxes, or you don't spend it,
Oh,
you have it
right.
taken away from you. You're taxed so astronomically for your
Yeah,
free health care. And then the doctors who are being told, no, you're going to make this much money, period. It's a socialistic,
that's
communistic
right.
system, which is why Obama pushed so hard to get it done here, because he is a communist. And the trying to get into see a doctor can take months. Trying to, I mean, they will literally tell you, I'm not telling you anything you don't know, but people down here might be thinking, oh, that's so idyllic, but it really isn't, because you're told, yeah, you know what, that's not a necessary surgery. Or you have to have your instep fixed, you have a fallen arch, yeah, sorry, that's not important enough, no, you don't get to have that done, no, we're not going to pay for it. That's happened, hasn't it? And doctors
Yeah,
have left your country because they're being told you can't make any more money than this amount. We've capped you off here. So they come
true.
down here. Got a bunch of
Very true.
Canadian doctors down here, and they're great. I like them. They're always friendly.
Very true. They've left for a reason, you
Hmm.
know. Um, the other thing is splitting this country, Canada, down the middle. 51st and 52nd would be good. All right, I think I think we better separate that. We draw the line right here in the dead center of Canada, which is Manitoba. All
Yeah.
right, so we're just a mark off. Like I can go 10 miles to my east, and I'm at the dead center of Canada, Charlie.
Yeah, the
Now that
provinces over on the East Coast and on the West Coast are flaming leftists, that's for sure. And everything in the middle are normal people.
Well, sort
Um,
of. We're under an NDP rule here in Manitoba, which is, tied to the Liberal Party here in Canada. So they're the ones who are doing all the damage, and our conservative government's got to get into power soon enough. And Pierre Poilievre is trying to do exactly that. And once we get Justin dealt with, but I got to be honest with you. We think that we're in the clear here. Some people think we're in the clear here. We're far from in the clear, Charlie. All he did was he resigned officially, but he also stayed on. His
yes.
intention to stay on as prime minister until a new leader is chosen.
And it's funny because Trudeau, in his verbiage, when he made this announcement, he said, I intend to. I
That's right.
intend to. But he didn't actually do it.
Correct. And whatever this means, his ties to the globalists run deep. He's tied in with the World Economic Forum for many years as a young global leader. That's led to 52 cabinet ministers that Klaus loves to talk about have infiltrated our cabinet, right, and our government. But I think we're at a position now where what's going to happen going forward, if you think it's over, it's far from over. So to get everybody kind of caught up, the next guy that they're thinking of bringing in is this guy named Mark Carney. Oh, pardon me. And Mark Carney, I'm just going to pull up the right picture here. Sorry about that. Mark Carney actually looks a little like this guy. Well, is this guy. And he's tied to the World Economic Forum.
Of course
So,
he is.
that being said, this guy wasn't just tied to the World Economic Forum or wants to be prime minister. He is also the same guy who was the Bank of Canada CEO. He was also the Bank of London CEO. And now he is tied to this globalist agenda. And he's obviously pro-green, so he's involved in the DEI aspect of things. And, they're trying to, I guess, going to implement him in place of. He's done a lot over the course of his lifetime, but primarily through his participation in events and activities. Between him and Justin Trudeau, they're still planning on following that same globalist path. And, they attend the same meetings in Davos, Switzerland. They've all spoken to Klaus and had steak and wine with Klaus many times. Influential leaders and politicians, businesses, and other sectors are really the ones who are showing up to these big economic world discussions in such a place that is a big secret to the world. If people on your channel don't know what I'm talking about,
Davos.
it's not a conspiracy.
Right.
This really does take place.
Yeah.
But Trudeau's participation in these events aligns with his government's engagement in global discussions about economic and environmental policies. And those shared ideals, well, they emphasize all kinds of things from inclusivity to sustainability to international cooperation, which are themes commonly discussed at the WEF meetings. Now, this shared focus has really led to perceptions that Trudeau's approach aligns with some of the initiatives promoted by the WEF. And Mark Carney, his involvement, after serving as governor of both the Bank of Canada and the Bank of England, Carney became a prominent figure at the WEF. He's spoken multiple times at multiple events there, but particularly on topics related to global financial systems, such as the CBDCs, central bank digital currency, and the role financial institutions play in driving sustainable development. Carney's been a vocal advocate for climate change, all within financial markets as well. So, look, this guy's played a significant role in promoting the idea of incorporating environmental, social, and governance factors into financial decision-making. He co-chaired a task force on climate-related financial disclosures, which aims to standardize climate-related financial reporting. The WEF has been a platform where such issues are prominently discussed, and Carney's leadership in these areas has further solidified and his connection and really his organization's work on climate change and sustainability. So this guy's like trouble, both Trudeau and Carney. Left wing, right wing, same bird. How about that?
It's all communism, bottom line.
Correct.
And it is. They've worked so hard to turn Canada into a socialist utopia, Mexico into a socialist utopia. We're surrounded by it, and then they went to work on the United States of America. But things have been happening here that in the states that have unfortunately had complete control over their entire population, like California. It's a one-party state. It's all Democrats running the show, and they've set themselves up in such a way that's like good luck wresting this power away from them. They're hell-bent on the fifth largest economy in the world. At least that's what California's Governor Hairdo keeps telling us. And at the same time, we're freaking broke. We're completely broke, and we're going to collapse financially. And when California collapses, what do you think is going to happen to the rest of the nation? So it's all part of dismantle. They're doing their father's work just as quickly as possible, for his time is short. And his father's work is to steal, kill, and destroy. And that's what they've been doing. So Carney, all he's going to be is just another puppet when they put him in there, and then and the media will get right on board saying, "Oh, look, things are so much better. Oh, thank goodness. Oh, we need to give him a chance at having a full term as prime minister."
We use this on a couple of my other podcasts. This is little JT, we call him, and he's on his way out. But Mark Carney's kind of in the same place. He's going to be on his way out as quick as he gets in. So
you think so?
I'm pretty much going to have to say that Canadians aren't going to put up with it. We just can't. We have to move forward from this, and to get there, we're going to have to, say the same things that, good Americans have been saying for a while about Joe Biden. Right? It's the same situation. It's just a different part of North America. That's all. Yeah. Same thing. Bankrupt the country, destroy family, question sexuality, and keep the game going as long as I possibly can. And lie. Tell as many lies as possible.
And now the land grab through fires.
Land grab is big one.
You had a serious one of the biggest ever up there in Canada, and that's has that been like a year now?
It has. It was Kelowna actually, and Jasper, Alberta had another one. So just outside of Red Deer there, towards the in the mountains. But the one that really was West Kelowna, in British Columbia, and that wiped out, acres and acres of beautiful, beautiful land. I worked at a resort out there for with a company that I was with for 12 years, and the resort went up in flames, and it was a multi-million-dollar resort that was right on the lake. It was beautiful, had multiple dwellings on this property, had a golf course, had boating, had a houseboat, all kinds of great amenities. But it's now nothing. It used
Are
to
they
be owned by
rebuilding?
CN Rail.
Are they rebuilding?
No, no, not at all. It was decimated. It was gutted right down to the bottom foundation, just like you saw in Lahaina, just like you saw in Jasper, just like you saw in LA or seeing in LA now. Crazy. All of it.
Speaking of crazy, I'm hearing more and more people talking about this, and I'd love to get your input on it. The whole conversion over to smart meters. At the time, I thought down here where I am is Pacific Gas and Electric (PG&E), but all of the big utilities all across the country went with these smart meters.
Yep.
And it was so that they could check your usage and bill you accordingly without having to pay these meter readers to go around and read your, how much energy you're using every month and being charged accordingly. And so it was sold as it's going to be a great cost cutting move, and we're going to pass the savings on to you. Of course, that didn't happen. But now I'm seeing video of these smart meters, nothing going on, suddenly exploding, suddenly catching on fire, and
Yeah.
it's burning so hotly that it's catching the home on fire. And down in Los Angeles, what we're seeing right now, even though they're blaming the winds on it, Santa Ana winds, which are significant, blowing the embers, but that's not how the fire has been spreading. It hasn't been creating a path that's added to it, but we see entire neighborhoods going up in like just a few minutes. All of a sudden,
This
all these
house,
homes all over the
this
place are on fire.
Yep, this house, this house, this house, this house, in a chain. It's like a chain of fire. Okay, and that chain of fire, you're right. Notice that it's not starting on the outside of the building. It's all happening on the inside of the building. We're seeing the electricity, I believe, and I've been looking into this. I'm not 100% accurate on anything I'm about to say, but I am doing at least trying to do my own research so that I can be a little educated. We normally wouldn't talk about this, but we'll say semi controversial. There's some kind of a backup of power that's happening. Is it caused by radio waves? 5G maybe? Could it be the smart meter that's back regarding the back push of power back into the system within the home, causing outlets to go zzz, causing immediate combustion? I'm not sure, but I'm going to look into it. I'm going to try to find out the truth, just like everybody else is. I just don't know that, like, they haven't really taken away the job. You talked about just that meter guy that used to walk around and you have to go door to door to get the meter reading, or the water meter reading even.
Yeah, that's right.
Now the guy sits outside in the van and he does it from just inside the van with a laptop. He's still going house to house in a sense. He's just sitting outside on my street now and going like this. I don't know. They didn't cut back on the job. The job is still a job. All they did was cut back on the amount of exercise that goes into the job. Like, does your smart meter read right back to PG&E, for example?
I lost my home. The Caldor fire that went through El Dorado County and took out the entire town of Grizzly Flats, which had a couple of thousand people living there, which, by the way, conveniently, probably a good third of them had already had their homeowners insurance cancel on them because they were deemed a high fire area. So they lost everything. And I tell you all this because I don't know. I don't know how they work, how the smart meters work when it comes to that now. Does it feed in directly to the company, or do they have to go around in vans and through radio waves? Yeah, great, more radio waves. Read your meter. I don't know.
They've been doing that in my neighborhood. I'm not sure what happens in yours, but a lot of Californians have been talking about this now since they've implemented them. And you can see just the amount of people that are from Dennis Quaid to, Stallone to a bunch of others that are all starting to speak up now. And they're kind of saying this is sketchy and we better be thinking about what's really going on here. And once one starts, the next one says the same thing. And you've sort of got that chain of following the chain, which again is like following the fire as it burns from house to house, which is, how did this start? Well, I think it started the same way. John, how about you, Fred? Same thing, guys. And all of a sudden it's like, people have said, oh, directed energy weapon. Well, they've got that coming down from the sky too. But I don't think that that's necessarily what went on here.
It might be all of the above.
It could be. Who knows?
Because who would have thought that what's happening in the LA area right now would have ever been possible? I mean, in canyons, yes, I get it. Over on the coast and the coastal ranges, there's a lot of pine, and they have been dismal when it comes to grooming the forest, or as President Trump correctly said, raking the forest. They have let that all go to the wayside. None of it's been done. It is tinder waiting to just go up. And the odd thing is, though, all the homes all over the place that are going up. And then the vegetation around it is not burning. And there's a lot of people who say, well, that's because trees are more resistant to fire and so, but they don't even look scorched. How did that happen?
The telephone poles aren't coming down. The power poles aren't coming down, right? There's nothing on fire there, and they're bone dry. They got oil on them to grease them up to keep them lasting longer so they don't dry out.
With creosote, yeah. But what else is going on up in your neck of the woods, up in the Great White North?
I think our hockey teams are going to make the NHL playoffs this year, so that's good. We might have 5 out of 6 teams hitting the playoffs, so bonus for us. My fingers are crossed. Jets have been doing good if you're a Winnipeg Jets fan. If not, you should be. We've got the best record off the start of this season, 16 straight in a row. And then I don't know, I think we're down to the 4th or 5th now, but we're still doing good for a hockey team from Canada.
Right.
Your boys down there in the States took the World Junior Championships. I was pretty impressed with that. Way to go, American boys.
Good.
That was awesome to watch, too. Some great hockey there.
Has your sports coverage up there turned completely woke like down here? ESPN is the most pathetic of them all. And, of course, they're owned by Disney, which owns ABC. And Disney has completely lost their minds. Anybody who's still supporting Disney or anything that Disney does, you're actually supporting the cause of grooming of children, if nothing else.
I like to say you're part of the problem.
You are part of the problem. Stop supporting Disney. But they own ESPN, and ESPN has gone completely woke and preachy. And I've divorced myself of all of it. I don't follow any of those anymore.
Yeah, no, I haven't been following along either. I hear this, look at the stats and check out where the teams are, but I'm not following mainstream at all. We've canceled that right out of our lives here. So I'm not seeing anything from the liberal leftist side of things, the communist side, as I like to call it. Yeah. My life's been a whole lot happier that way. I can kind of pick and choose when I want to see something from CBC or from CTV. I'm pretty much like everybody else now. We look independent broadcasters like you and I, Charlie, who are just trying to stay in the game and trying to do what we do and be educated enough to help provide some other people with some information that hopefully gets them by on a day-to-day basis, right?
Yeah. So again, about this whole 51st state thing, getting back to that, one of your pundits up there, I thought had a really good thought on the whole matter.
Donald Trump now calls Justin Trudeau governor. He suggested that Canada become America's 51st state. Is that all in jest or a serious consideration?
Well, it certainly is something that has been in consideration in America for a very long time, going all the way back to the founding fathers. In fact, there always has been a contingency plan about expanding the United States into Canada. It hasn't made sense over the past century or so. I think that the 2 world wars kind of forestalled that, and then we got into the Cold War with the Soviet Union and the Soviet bloc. But in the aftermath of that, I would say over the past 30 years since Mr. Reagan left, I think that the situation in Canada has declined to the point where many Canadians are asking, well, gee, why are we an independent country? What are the benefits of that? Our standard of living used to mirror pretty closely the United States, but now even the richest parts of Canada would be behind states like Mississippi in terms of GDP and standard of living. And so I think that this is a time when it behooves us as people and indeed our leaders to look at all options, look at all possibilities to do what's best for the citizenry and not necessarily for those who have the privilege of government.
I had no idea that this is something that had been talked about for decades. I had no clue, never even thought or considered such a thing. You are your own sovereign nation. You are governing. You're electing people to govern you, who I hope would be better. You've had some great prime ministers, and then you're reelected probably one of the worst people to ever sit in that position of power in your country.
9 years straight.
Yeah.
9 years.
Is it possible? Is he right? Is it actually something that's feasible or even possible?
It is possible. It is feasible. I think that there is something there that could be discussed. Whether or not we could ever get to resolve on it, I'm not sure. But it would be a good discussion anyway. I think that Kevin O'Leary, off of Shark Tank, as you may have known, or Shark's Den, or whatever they call it, Shark Tank, yeah.
Thank you.
And Dragon's Den here in Canada was what we called it. So him and our premier from Alberta, Danielle Smith, who has also been recently seen at Mar-a-Lago just last week.
Is that the one that stepped down as we have vice presidents? I don't know what you call your prime minister vice.
Yeah, no, that's a lady named Chrystia Freeland you were talking about.
This is somebody. Okay, gotcha.
Chrystia Freeland's part of Justin's World and the World Economic Forum. She and Mark Carney and all them are all.
Why did she step down?
Cahoots. Oh, it was like she didn't have any more confidence in Justin. Basically, how do I really know the truth? I know that she doesn't like Justin anymore, but do I really think they hate each other? No, they don't. I think that
they're all working for the same common cause.
They're all going right back to Davos to meet with Klaus. They've all got cushy jobs in Switzerland right after this. Let them go live in their little ski village with Klaus. I don't give a. Okay, but I got a bell. I should have had my bell here because I ding my bell usually when I'm about to lay down an F-bomb.
I get it. I get it. So who's this person at Mar-a-Lago then? Who's that?
So that was the Alberta Premier, Danielle Smith.
Right.
So
okay.
She's the Premier of Alberta. We have another guy here in Manitoba. His name is Wab Kinew. He's the Manitoba Premier for now. Danielle is a Conservative, whereas Wab Kinew in our province of Manitoba is an NDP, which again has been in cahoots with the Liberals to cause this coalition to make sure that a minority government, which is what Justin Trudeau is ultimately responsible for, but because the NDP went along with Justin, he got a majority. So that in turn left us where we are today, which is, again, searching for a leader, somebody that can actually do the job properly, somebody who's not willing to send all of our hard-earned tax dollars to Ukraine and, not spend it on our own homeless. We have an immigration problem here too, Charlie. It's a huge one. Your president-elect is on his way to come into power, and he's saying the exact same thing I'm saying. So it's no big secret that we're all in a mess load of trouble here in Canada and North America. We've got to put our countries back together. It's going to take many a great man. We've had many a great man do that before, and we just need more to go forward and continue.
Well, being a sports fan, a fellow sports fan like you, I know the power of having a strong bench. Players ready to step up.
That's right.
Control, take over for the quarterback or for the pitcher. Or all the, you got to have a strong bench. And in the Republican Party down here, the Conservative Party, we have a strong bench.
Oh yeah, he's put together quite the team, Charlie?
On the left, though, on the left, it's pathetic. I mean, who who do they have? Is it the same in Canada? Do you have anybody that
Yeah,
you
no,
think?
they
Thanks?
on the left side of things, they still picked all the people that we would have picked last in gym class. Okay, that's just the way it is.
How about on the right though? Do you have any? Do you have a
On the
strong
right,
bid?
well, the thing about the right is we don't know. Klaus has been so vocal about him infiltrating our government here in Canada, which he hasn't done in the States the same way, okay? That's George Soros and other people down there like BlackRock and Vanguard. I think they're pushing your motion down there. But up here, we're stuck being pushed by, well, Klaus Schwab, specifically Klaus Schwab and the World Economic Forum and everybody who's been indoctrinated by that whole organization. This isn't something new. This is something that they've been trying for a very long time. As Klaus has mentioned many a time, this is just the right time to try this again. And I've got to say, like, they're making this happen throughout North America. Where do you hear of any other countries on fire, Charlie? Just asking.
The when I was living and working up there for half a year, that I thoroughly enjoyed, and frankly, I was ready to just chuck it and go up there. Obama was president, and I wanted out, and I had really nothing keeping me down here at the time, so I was all for it. And your government said no. We're not going to allow an American to take a job that a Canadian can do. And at the time, I was disappointed, but I thought, that's smart. That makes sense. But your prime minister was Ford, right?
No, that's Doug Ford out of Ontario, actually,
Uh
that
huh.
you're talking about. That's the Premier of Ontario, much like we have that Danielle Smith, Premier of Alberta, and Wab Kinew here in Manitoba. We have another guy named,
Well, who was prime minister back in 2008, 2009 when I was there?
that would have been Andrew Scheer, or he was
White?
leader of the opposition.
Was his last name White, maybe?
No, I haven't heard of
Anyway,
a white.
he was really conservative
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah, absolutely.
was really good. And they brought him down with some kind of a ridiculous
You mean Stephen
excise.
Harper?
That's it.
Stephen Harper, yeah.
That's it. How could I forget that name?
When you were in Alberta, you had another guy there who was the premier. His name was Ralph Klein.
Um, Harper. Harper was great. I was impressed with him, but the media hated him and they attacked him constantly. It
He
was
was
like they
part.
do to Trump down here.
He was part of all that too back then. It's all
What
been
happened?
happening a very, very, very long time, even before the 2000s, back in the 1980s, the 70s, the 60s, the 50s. It's gone
Do
all
you
the way
have
that far
anybody
back.
like that standing by who's a good conservative who could be prime minister of your country?
We're not sure who's been infiltrated. We're not sure who to trust.
Got it.
New people have to be brought into place, and those people are tough to find.
I got you.
That's where we're at, and that's why Canadians, I believe, are thinking 51st state in a serious manner.
They really are.
That's what really can push and drive that to happen, is that we have no confidence in our own people to put our own government back together again. Serious trouble.
United States of Canada. Uh, I want you all to do well. I want you to
Emerita.
thrive. What's that? Emerita?
Emerita.
There it is, Emerita. That's perfect. Wow. I want you to do well. I want you to thrive. You're just extraordinary folks. Everyone I've met, I'm sure there are a lot of bad ones too, obviously. But
You know what we're most concerned about, Charlie, in this 51st state idea is that we're going to have you guys round up all the illegals and all the trouble and ship them to the north because they can't go south. Okay, they're not going back to Guatemala. They're not going back to El Salvador. They're not going back to the Triangle at all. And they're sure not going back through Mexico. But what if the U.S. decided, what if Donnie decides, hey, let's ship these people up north. There's a lot of land up there. Let them go spend for themselves. Let them figure it out over there. And that happens.
I don't
You better
think
you better have a bedroom for me, pal. Because I'm bringing all this equipment and I'm coming to your city
we'll
soon.
fix you up, buddy. We'll fix you up. But I don't think that President Trump's going to have to do that. I think that once he takes power and Homan takes over, and we get good people running the show again, that they're going to be bailing. They're going to be leaving here because the freebies are going to dry up. Freebies are going to go away. And you're right. Many of them, and especially the ones who were bussed up to the border or put on trains or wherever, and out of prison
Right.
and out of insane asylums. And President Trump is right. That has absolutely been happening. They take them right to the border and they go walk that way and don't come back. Because if we catch you, it's going to be far more severe for you.
Yeah,
They're
once you got
not
them on the
going
other
back down there. You're right.
once you got them on the other side of that wall, you're golden. I mean, that wall is the best thing that's happened across North America, period. But, you know,
They're going to
5
bail.
cents
And
on the
you're
dollar
right.
or something.
They are going to go up north, I hate to say.
Well, that's what I'm worried about, that they come up north and that, you know, our cities turn into worse than what they are already. And we've got enough problems. Not to mention that, you know, the snow's deep.
And unfortunately, that means Joe Biden has had his reign of terror not only across our nation but yours as well.
Absolutely.
I'm sorry about that. My apologies. I had nothing to do with it, but I still apologize for that train wreck.
Well, I
So,
appreciate that.
where can we go from here then, Brad Wilder? Where do we find you? How do we follow what you're doing with Wake Up Canada?
Well, you know, I've had a lot going on. There's been a lot of new podcasts that have come into my world producing, and there's a lot of people who have a lot to say these days. So I've picked up about 3 or 4 other podcasts right now that I'm involved with. So my own Wake Up Canada news channel has been trying to still stay active, obviously. You can find us online at wakeupcanadanews.com. We have a BitChute channel under Wake Up Canada News, same thing under Rumble, same thing on YouTube. We're also on X now as well. So you can find us on all those platforms. A couple other channels that I'm on are Unmasking the Trans Movement with John Euler, where we talk about all of the issues the trans movement is trying to infiltrate and affect our children and our own sexuality, whether you're a man or a woman. Just disgusting what's going on there, but you can find out some great information on us that way. I also do another one called Ask the Funeral Director with a great friend of mine named Mike Voyajakis, and he owns 5 funeral homes here in the city of Winnipeg, and we go through a list of tons of questions, and we talk about, you know, current events. He also does embalming. So, Charlie, I'm not sure if you know, but that thing that they had a few years ago has led to a lot of death. And when those deaths occur, there's a lot of embalming that goes on, which causes things to come out of the body. And when these things come out of the body, we've got real proof with that gentleman sitting beside me who is telling that tale and story. Which is true.
You are being careful with your verbiage, and I understand why.
Yes.
Because, like me, you've been burned, you've been hit, you've been slapped, you've been deleted. I get it, but you don't have to worry about that here. You can speak openly and honestly. And I saw Stu Peters' first documentary, which was extraordinary. I'm not thinking of the name right now, but man, that was good. I saw the cords that were coming out of people,
That's
the
right.
bodies. I saw the fibrous, and it was all people who had had the shot.
Yeah.
It was very real and very pathetic. And
It's,
when
it's
I tried
still
to
real,
post,
and it's still growing. It's still growing. This whole thing is just getting worse and worse and worse. Having worked at the funeral home for the past, 6 months, 7 months, because my friend needed an extra hand. He's like, I'm short, guys. We're doing 2 funerals a day in 5 different locations. I need guys. Can you help? So I said, sure. He said, it'd be good if you learned about the business, so when we talk about it on the show, you'll have an understanding. So that's what we did. And I'm still dumbfounded to everything that I'm seeing and witnessing, and from babies to stillborns to moms who are giving birth, to moms who have just given birth, to 40-year-olds who shouldn't have died, to top athletes who shouldn't be dead, to it just keeps going and going and going. The list goes on and on and on. And I'm telling you, as soon as they end up being embalmed, we're seeing exactly that fibrous stuff popping out, and it's all over the place. And it's so disturbing to see, and knowing that that has happened to the population in a real big way. Like, it's not just a few people who got vaccinated, it's a majority of the people that got vaccinated, and now they're faced with living with this. I would hate to be in that
I've
position.
had
I'm
people
not vaccinated.
tell me that it's cruel that I point all this stuff out that's going on because they've had the shot and it hurts their feelings.
Yeah.
I After what I went through, I don't know about you, but after what I went through with being targeted, with being shut down, with being attacked because I was talking about all these things, they wanted me to be fired. They celebrated when I lost my
Yep.
radio job because I
Yep.
said on the air, "You want to die? Check yourself into the hospital. They'll make sure it happens," because they're getting paid tens and even hundreds of thousands of dollars to do it.
It's correct.
And I took so much heat that I kind of have a hard time feeling sorry for them. And that's not very Christian of me. I need to change my attitude. But um, there are
No, you know
things.
what? I got to say this because I can't forgive and I can't forget either. I'm sorry. It's just never going to go away. That damage has been done. I didn't make that or cause any of that, but I sure as heck am not going to stop reacting to what you've done. That I will never waver from. And if you try that again on us, I will not comply again, and I'll do it wholeheartedly, even heavier than I did last time. I was polite last time. I will not be polite going
I'll not
forward
be
this
polite
time.
this time.
Keep
Exactly.
your bird flu to yourself.
Right? And thank God for X, and thank God for Rumble, because now we actually have platforms where we can talk this way. But because
Yeah,
you and I
that's
just
right.
talked about that, I'm sure it'll be deleted off Facebook, although Facebook's supposed to be no more fact checking. Big stinking deal. They're still doing everything else. I'm still being shadow banned. I'm still, the
You know,
algorithms are
I
completely
wanted to
against
say
me.
there, because of what you're saying, you know, the algorithms haven't changed. That's the thing. The algorithms have not changed. The AI program that they were running as fact checkers hasn't changed. There's still a liberal edge to all of it, and I don't see that changing anytime soon. They would have to let, you know, they have to let people like the conservatives change the algorithm, and they're never going to allow that to happen. As soon as we start asking the right questions, it's I can't answer that. It's before my time. Blah blah blah. I only came online in 2021. Oh, you know, keep my hands to myself. I'm on the wrong show.
Brad Wilder, you're fantastic. I really always enjoy you. You want to get the news on what's happening to the north? He's the man. He is
Come
the
visit us.
man. So find him, follow him,
You know
and
what else? You know what else is really wild?
what?
Americans are the only ones who can see my channel, Charlie. Canadians can't see it. I'm banned in Canada. We're not allowed to watch the news here. I can't even see a CBC, the interview you watched there or whatever you showed today. I can never see that here. That's banned off my internet signal. Same thing with me. I'm banned off the internet signal. You Americans are the only one who are watching me.
I had no idea.
Yeah, it's horrible. We're in a bad place. We are
We
very
saw it
much
happen
communist driven.
during the protest, during the trucker protest across the nation, which you guys started brilliantly. Thank you for that, because you finally inspired us to do something like that down here. But if you're thinking that it'd be nice to have a digital currency and I don't have to carry cash around anymore, you're deluded and delusional. What do you think they're
Correct.
going to do? Look to what Trudeau did up in Canada. Look to what that Canadian government did to anybody who was trying to help and support those truckers. They literally had accounts closed. They had money taken away from Give, Send, Go, and other fundraising platforms like that, where we were trying to help them, even just keep diesel in their trucks to keep going. that was absconded, that was stolen from
Yeah,
them.
it was.
And then one thing that I don't know if you all saw it in Canada, but we got to see it down here. When your Royal Canadian Mounted Police, which used to be the ultimate respect for them, are riding their horses into people on walkers and in wheelchairs, knocking them over, severely hurting people, taking clubs to them, who for doing nothing other than congregating and letting their voices be heard, because you don't have a First Amendment right like we do down here, do you?
No, we do not. No, sir. We have a a charter of rights, but we also have a bill of rights.
Right.
That was a
You,
very complicated time for all of us, and that truth has been coming out now for quite some time as to what really went on there and why it went on. Much like this happening for your January the 6th down in the States. As we find out more and more, we need accountability. We've said that before, and I think we're going to keep saying it going forward. I hope that we can get to the bottom of everything that's happened here in Canada, and I hope that you guys can find out all the truths that you've been lied to in the States. Together, we've got to somehow get back on track as one nation, in a sense, under North America, and stop allowing outside influences, especially the Chinese Communist Party, to infiltrate our area and
yes, sir.
allow this to continue to happen. So,
Yes,
you know,
sir.
it's your military that's going to help that. I hope. I hope. Oh, I hope. I have high hopes for those Marines. I have high hopes for the guys that aren't DEI'd out.
I'm afraid
Right?
a lot of them were fired, dishonorably discharged during the COVID forced shot
So the
crap.
real men are on the sidelines, and now we've got a bunch of girly men running the show, do we? I'm sorry to say it like that.
On that note, I'm not going to comment, mainly because I
No, don't
serve.
bother.
I serve in the military, and I'm so limited in what I can say and what I can talk about when it comes to
Well,
that.
I know that there's still good people out there, Charlie, and so do you. And all they have to do is step up and say, do not comply, and we will get to where we need to go to. And I think that those
Exactly.
good people are just waiting for that opportunity to be able to say those words and step up.
And hey, and as for you Canadians, although I just found out nobody can see you in Canada, stop going to Starbucks. You got Timmy's. Tim Hortons is awesome. Quit giving your money to Starbucks, for heaven's sake. Start
Yeah,
there. It's an easy start. Boycott Starbucks. All right, my friend. Talk to you soon, I hope. Brad
we
Wilder.
will. Take care, Charlie.
All right, buddy.
Thanks.
And thank you very much for your time and sharing this show and following this channel, especially on Rumble. If you can follow it right now, that'd be great. It's easy to do. Just click that follow button. It doesn't cost you anything. If you can like what we just did right here, what you just saw, that helps as well. And share it. Share it. Let people know what's going on. Our neighbors to the north, our valued neighbors to the north. We got to cherish them. We got to support them. We got to help them. May God bless you and keep you. May God bless America, but most all of America, North, Central. Most importantly, though, America, seriously, most importantly, America, bless God.